Today we're going to clarify butter, and you may wonder, why would you want to clarify butter? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of reasons why I always like to have clarified butter in my refrigerator, and I take this little step to kind of pre-prep it for my refrigerator about every 2 weeks. It's real easy to do. First of all, let's take a look here and I'll show you why I like to use clarified butter. This is a hot cast iron skillet and I'm going to blacken a steak. And sometimes I'll blacken burgers, sometimes I'll blacken fish, but I do like to have some clarified butter on hand so that if I get a little craving for something, I can just go in there and throw it together really quick. It just takes minutes to blacken something. So your clarified butter is nice for that because it doesn't burn. You see how hot that skillet is? Well, I'm using a butter so I can get some nice flavor on my beef tenderloin pieces that I needed to quickly sear them for a dish that I was preparing. I also like to use it for things like blackening steak or blackening fish. And another way I like to use it is for making sauces. I love sauces, and so nice clarified butter will result in a creamy sauce. And you don't always have to have a clarified butter, but the butter that I have, I must clarify it first or my sauce does not turn out creamy. It turns out more frothy. And so you can also buy a higher quality butter that may not need clarification. I've had some pretty good results not clarifying some higher quality butters. For instance, here's just a béarnaise sauce that I love to put on my filet mignons, and I like it really thick and really creamy. I also like to make a lemon dill sauce that's really good on fish, and then there's a lot of different sauces you can make as long as you have a nice clarified butter. It just makes your sauce come together really quick. If my butter is already clarified, I'm much more apt to go ahead and make a sauce or to go ahead and blacken a steak or something like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we're going to clarify the butter. In a saucepan, I'm just going to go ahead and melt a half a cup of butter. That's 2 sticks. And I'm going to do this on medium-low heat. Or you can also do low heat. You just really don't want to cook your butter. Now that I'm noticing a little bit of bubbling, I'm going to go ahead and remove this from the heat and let it continue to melt. Once it's completely melted, I will remove it and put it on a cutting board for it to cool at room temperature for about 15 minutes. And the reason why I let it cool is because it's a lot easier to remove that foam from the top of your butter. What we're doing here is we're removing the milk solids from the butter because that's what burns whenever you're using butter. You know, I use butter for a lot of different things, and I only use my clarified butter for a couple of things that I just mentioned. But just for pancakes or toast or something like that, I typically just use regular butter. I don't use clarified butter for everything. But do know that when your butter burns, it's because of those milk solids that's in there. So that's all we're doing, is we're removing the milk solids. So once you feel like you've skimmed off the top pretty well, and I always wipe my spoon in between skimming because I get a better result that way, so just trying to keep your spoon clean when you're doing that. And we will just strain out any remaining milk solids, and you can just use a very fine little strainer, and if your strainer's not real fine, go ahead and put a little bit of cheesecloth in there, a couple of layers, just to kind of make sure it's real nice and clean. And when you get to the bottom of your saucepan, you'll need to be real careful because there are some more milk solids and water usually right there at the bottom of your butter. So this part right here, you can see it looks much more watery than the other, which was nice and thick and smooth. I'm going to just put this in a different container because some of that butter will also solidify, because I'm going to put this in the refrigerator and then I can use that for something else. But the blue container here is my good butter that I'll use for things like sauces and blackening meats. So the next day, I removed this from the refrigerator. I'm going to take one last step to get out any remaining milk solids or water, and I will just pry it out of there, and I'm going to put it in another container the same size. I'll just pat off any water that might be on there, and then I'll show you here in the other container what kind of water and milk solids were kind of forced out. So there was just a little bit of water left in there, and that took care of it, just refrigerating it like that. So I hope you can try this, and I'll try to upload more videos soon on how you can use your clarified butter. Thanks so much for watching. Have a beautiful day.